PG-13 con. There's no children in the audience, so we're fine, but if someone comes in, I always remind everybody. We cannot have anyone standing in the aisles. Miss, if you'd like to, we can definitely put you up here to accommodate you better. We cannot have you in the aisles. If everyone can turn their cell phones off or on silent, we don't want, of course, we want to respect our panelists and make sure that we are not taking phone calls in the room. If you need to, doors are right there. We promise to be back here when you come back for your phone call. I'm going to turn the table over to Shane. He is the leader of the Phoenix Gaymers, and he's going to take it forward from here.
Thank you all. I'm sure we're going to start with my co-chair, Russ.
Hi, I'm Russ. I'm the co-chair for Phoenix Gaymers. I've been with the group since 2010. I started out working with another group called Open Doors AZ, which kind of helped me cut my teeth on writing social groups. So I used that that experience with Phoenix Gaymers to add some organizational change and grow the group. On the gaming side, I'm more of a console player, so I play like Bioshock, Dead Space, Uncharted, The Last of Us. Other things that I like to do, I like mud runs, I like to do yoga, and collect records. So that's me.
My name's Shane. I've been with the Phoenix Gaymers since the very first game night, which was back in 2005. In 2008, I took over running the group when the original founder left. Worked to bring together our small group and build it. I was hosting events myself in my own home for the most part. Eventually we grew to the point where we have now over 900 people in the group. I'm now co-chair for the board with Russ. I balance my duties running the group with work and with being a single parent. And I enjoy card games, Magic the Gathering, Call of Duty, pretty much all consoles, and some PC gaming.
My name is Robbie. I've been a member of the group about 3 years. I like helping out wherever I can, accepting new members, trying to plan some events, and doing stuff like that. I've been here for games for 4 years. Used to be a gypsy before then, moving everywhere and anywhere. During the day, I work as a tech support specialist, helping people with their streaming issues and support services. For fun, I game. I play RPGs are my favorite. Pokemon is my favorite series in the world. Espeon is my favorite Pokemon. Besides that, I like to play PC, console, Xbox, 3DS, all that kind of fun stuff. And I love to hunt food around the valley.
Hunt food?
Yes, hunt food.
Like
I love wings. I'm always looking for the best wings around the valley.
Oh, okay.
Shoot, that's fun. Hey, sometimes
Tell me
hunting
a
food is
little
fun
bit.
too.
Hi everyone, I'm Sable. I just want to say first of all, I'm not one of those guys. I just forgot my glasses like next door, and these are prescriptions, so have to put them on so you're not all blurry. Maybe I should just say I was hungover, but alas. Our lovely moderator was originally going to do our bios, and he was so great to writing them up. I am going to be a nerd and read what he wrote up, so it's going to be third person. Sable is an eccentric sort that owns more books than shoes and not enough space for either. She adores history nerdery, is an occasional video game addict, and ever-indulgent tabletop gamer. Although not a Phoenix native, she has alighted on the valley for an extended moment, enjoying her time both on and off the stage with her dance troupe Burlescapades, as well as sharing a co-manager position with Russ for marketing promotion with Phoenix Gaymers. Her love of characters and costumes are part of why she fell so fully in love with burlesque. The rest of her time, Sable assists several nonprofits with social media, promoting events, and crafting maniacal ways for the gamers to rule the universe with her as Imperial Empress, of course.
I have to follow that. Hi, I'm Joe. I'm one of the co-event managers for Phoenix Gaymers, which means I come up with help come up with new events and post them on our Facebook and meetup groups. I've lived out in Arizona for about 20 years now, originally from California. I play a lot of console console games, card games, Pokemon, Animal Crossing every day.
Obsessed.
No, Animal Crossing is like you live in a town with cute animals.
That's you.
And other than that, I love Dragon Age, so I'll play with it. That's about it. I don't know. Hi. It's my first panel ever.
Shane has a slideshow that we're going to be reviewing post the panel. Take it away.
He's Russ, I'm Shane.
I apologize.
Or Russian.
Today we're going to talk about what is a gamer and discuss building LGBT gaming communities here in Phoenix and across the country. Presented by Phoenix Gaymers. Okay. The first part we're going to talk about is the existence of gamer groups across the country. What is a gamer? So gamers or gay gamers are people who identify themselves in the LGBTQA community and have an active interest in games. These games, as applies to our group, people like video games, board games, card games, tabletop, PC, roleplay, really any kind of game. And our group has a high diversity in what people are into. Who can be a gamer? Everybody. There are no requirements. You don't have to be gay. If you want to get together with your gay friends or LGBT friends, then you're a gamer with us. One of the things we wanted to talk about is why gamer groups exist. And Jason Rockwood, who created the Gamer survey back in 2006, he had said that the mainstream gay culture and media is not supportive of video games. And then you have the video game culture that is not supportive of gay culture. So you have these people that are stuck in the middle who have this double-edged prejudice, where as like a gamer, you don't fit in with the gay community, and also the geek community are kind of in the middle. So we create the groups to find a way for us to fit in. So gamer groups exist to provide a safe space, free of homophobia, racism, sexism, classism, etc. We exist to allow people to build friendships and relationships and to provide social networks and also to play games.
Sometimes.
Yes. Games. We're not the only gamer group. There are several others. There is the Houston Gamers Group, which is probably the largest localized gaming community in the world. They have over 1,300 members. There's the San Francisco Gamers, who have over 1,100 gamers. Sydney Gamers, over 1,200. And also Toronto Gamers, over 600. There's other communities out here. These are the ones that we were able to locate on Facebook. Communities exist on Facebook, on Meetup, on Reddit. So there's different ways that people do it. And then there's us. We just passed 900, actually 916 members. We're going to talk about the history.
So back in 2005, one of my best friends, Matthew Anders, and his partner at the time, Maurice, decided that they were going to start having a game night. For the same reasons that Russ mentioned. We didn't really fit in with the regular gay culture. We weren't jocks, we weren't, tweens or anything like that. We were just nerds. So we had a game night. That first game night, we probably had about 8 to 10 people. It was basically 3 couples and like 2 random people. And it was a good time. We were there for about 4 or 5 hours. Had some fun. And Matt would spend a lot of time. Matt was great at networking with people and getting people to come in and talking through AOL, back when it still existed, and Yahoo, and the different media outlets, or social media outlets at the time. And then in December of 2008, Matt left the group, and I took over running it. And at that time, we had maybe 20 regular people and a couple of other sporadic people who would come and go. A lot of the people that had come didn't want to come back because of the way things had started off. So I spent a lot of time reaching out to the existing people, the people that had been there, and basically just begging them to give us one more chance to come back and see what it was like now that I was running the group. And also using Facebook and MySpace, and I would scour profiles and just find anybody I could to reach out and pull in more people. In September of 2010, at the time I didn't know that it was going on, but in September somebody started a meetup group and named it Phoenix Gaymers. About 2 months later, I found out that they had started the group. I reached out to the then organizers and said, hey, Phoenix Gaymers is already here, let's do stuff together. So we started reaching out and doing a couple of cross events. The gentleman that ran that group, or organized the meetup.com, left, and Russ took over what they were doing. So then when it was just Russ and I, we sat down and said, let's really form this into one group. So, as you can see, the early gamer parties were very small, very cramped. We would get maybe 15, 20 people in a very small apartment playing games. But it was kind of nice. It was very intimate. Everybody knew everybody, and you could really form those friendships that we all really needed out of the group. So last year, we really stepped into the public spotlight in a big way. We were in the Phoenix Pride Parade for the first time. It was an incredible experience, and I think before the Pride Parade, we maybe had 200, 300 people, I'm guessing, if memory serves, in the group, and within a month, we had doubled. It was just, the response was amazing. So that same month, we decided we were going to sit down and take a look at what we wanted out of the group. What was this group going to be? Are we just going to play games, or are we going to do something for the community? In October of 2013, it was actually an experiment. I always hosted the group, the parties, and I was out of town, so we decided to rent out one voice. And the response was just overwhelming. We got so many new people coming in because it was centralized. It was a great experience, and we decided to keep it there. And then in February of 2014, as we talked about what we wanted to do, we decided to form an official board. So Russ and I are the co-chair, and we have managers underneath of us, and we all form the board of Phoenix Gaymers. And then in February of 2014, we marched in the parade for a second time. April, sorry.
We started early.
We marched in the parade. We were the only ones in that parade.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my turn. Oh, boy. I get to talk about the fun stuff. This is what we do for fun, the events. So,
You could ask Andrew.
all right, so we have a monthly gamer party. It's usually the third Saturday of each month. As you can see, it started as just the small group, but now we're at one place. We have upwards of, like 50 sometimes? More? Just hang out, play games, play card games, play video games. We have like an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Wii. We're always playing Smash Brothers. We're always playing Magic Gathering. Cartoons Humanity is a big one for our group. So we do that once a month. We also do the first Saturday of each month, so it would have been yesterday, except for we didn't do it for Comic-Con. But
Can we do it next weekend?
Well, we got an informal ice cream social. So ice cream social is kind of a sort of non-gamer event, because we all just kind of hang out, eat ice cream, and chat. We don't really play. There's sometimes people play Magic, sometimes we play apples to apples, because we try to keep it a little more PG out in public. Cartoons Humanity, if anybody knows that game, is non-PG. So that's pretty much the more social event. And speaking of that, we also get together usually the last Saturday or last Sunday of each month for a brunch, just different local establishments can get together, lunch, brunch. We've gone to like Super Pizza Brothers recently, if anybody's ever gone there, that place is amazing. It's just a chance for us to eat food and hang out, fun, chat, just get to know people. It's kind of what the group is about, apart from obviously the mind games part. Here we go. This is from Pride Parade of this year. We did a Mario Kart theme. As you can see, we had a big cart, like a turtle shell with a Peach and Daisy driving. Then we had multiple people in carts, and our carts were rainbow colored. And it was a lot of fun. What else to say about it? It was a unfortunately, Luigi had a little accident by the end of the play. But everything else was perfect. It was great. Other than that, we also do events that we like to call side quests, because, we're nerds, so extra experience. So like hikes, we'll do hikes. We did a dodgeball game. Sometimes we do like a yoga event. We haven't really done much with yoga lately. Dog park. Oh, that's a good one. And this is one of the events that people like just happen now. People give suggestions, and it's a lot more fun to just try things out before they start becoming more regular. They like the dodgeball was kind of an experiment. The hiking, it's kind of not the right weather for it anymore, but that's all our events. We're always open to suggestions. So. And now it's
Hey,
the mountain.
yeah.
Sorry.
So Robbie, besides being a gamer, I'm also run the Phoenix Gamer Reddit. So if you guys are part of Reddit, check us out, Phoenix Gaymers. So I'm going to talk about how I became a Phoenix Gamer. So, so about 3 years ago, I think contacted Shane. Somehow I became friends with Shane and talked with him on Facebook, and we were just chatting. He told me I host a gamer event. And back then I was like, I had a full-time job and I worked too much, overworked, and I had no fun. So I was like, oh, I'll check that out. So my first 2-3 meetings, I just sat there in a corner and just stared at everyone. I didn't do anything. I was just super nervous. Not like that now. Obviously everybody knows me. I'm loud. I'm the center of attention. But when I first met people, I was like, I don't know any of these people. I was super nervous. And then as I went to more meetups, I became friends with Shane, Russ, my other friend Jay, a whole bunch of people, and I started making friends. Outside of the group, I was making friends. I cared about what they did. I cared about, their life events. And a lot of my friends come from Phoenix Gaymers, I hang out outside of groups with them. I met one of my best friends through Phoenix Gaymers. I met exes through Phoenix Gaymers. So yeah, we're still friends, but yeah, Phoenix Gamer is not just for playing games, you could meet a lot of lifetime friends from Phoenix Gamers, It's not just about playing games, it's about building relationships, building friendships, having fun with different people. And that was my experience with Phoenix Gamers, and I really liked it. So my slideshow is all about my events. These are my favorite events. One of my favorite events were some gamers, Nick and Wade, had a pool party, which was very fun. They were nice enough to host it. It was really great. Everybody got to cool off during the summer, hang out, become friends. Another one of my favorite ones is when I hosted at my house back when I used to live in a house, and I had a bunch of friends over, and it was
You still have somewhere to live though, right?
Yeah. No, sometimes I just live under a street, It's very fun.
He rents out one of those food trucks.
And I got to host a couple events, besides the one I had at my place. We went to Gazooks on an enchilada place, which was a lot of fun. And I've done 2 cons ago. We did a meetup at Hooters. That was a lot of fun. And Public Ramen. And so those are my favorite couple cool events I hosted. And then these are just a bunch of events I've been to for different places we've gone to, Shane's house, One Voice, and stuff. That's it.
Hi guys. So I am going to talk about, as Joe's put it, the future of gamers. We've mentioned the One Voice Community Center a couple of times. That's part of the first things that we're wanting to do more is the community outreach. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Phoenix is maybe not the friendliest city for those of us that are a little different. So we want to change that, and so we want to, have our voice, not to sound trite, loud and proud, and make it obvious where you can go to, find people that are like-minded, and One Voice is one of those places. So recently, was it Rush and Shane together, or with the men's discussion group?
Me, Shane, Matt, Joe.
So all the guys came together at One Voice and had a men's discussion group, and not everything is going to be gender specific, but that was one of those areas where just find your people that you can talk to, and that's what we want to do more of, and also reaching out to existing charitable groups. I'm looking to get involved with Linson, which is a group that specifically does education in schools. So just really, I think the biggest thing is a lot of times people say and do things that are hurtful, not out of malice, but out of ignorance. And so if we can just get education from, the get-go, from when they're this big, then that will help a lot. And so we're going to look into those groups and get more involved. And of course, continue to support the One Voice Community Center by having our events there, because they are nonprofit, so they do need all of us as a community to support them so they can continue to keep their doors open. Of course, we're also going to do fundraising events so that we can keep doing things and get cooler and cooler events. So we want to do that for you, and you help us, and we'll help you. And then then we'll get a boat. We'll just have a big gamer boat. Yes. And next slide, which should be nonprofit. The other thing we want to work on is we want the Gaymers organization itself to have nonprofit status, and there's a few reasons for that. One, we're actually not going to buy a boat. Sorry. But we are able to get more benefits for this organization if we actually have nonprofit status. When I say benefits, I don't mean benefits for the managers or the co-chairs, but for our members, there's more that we can do if we have that tax-free status. Places like, VFW halls, things like that, they're more willing to open up their space if you're an actual nonprofit. So that's something that we're working on. Nick, who's hiding back in the fourth row, even though he's supposed to be in the first row, has really been helping us a lot with that, and has a lot of background experience with that. And so I believe we're aiming for 2015 for nonprofit. So that's our goal. And of course, if there's anyone else that has any experience with that, please do reach out to us, and we would love your help. And we're hopefully going to see that this time next year. And contributions, of course, then would be tax deductible, so it's nice for you guys too. And next slide. So Rainbow Festival, I don't think we've actually done Rainbow Festival officially at all. As the Gaymer group, Pride has been done the last 2 years, as the gents talked about with the float, but Rainbow Festival is also, it's a little less of the party version, as you guys may know, and so hopefully we'll be able to be there as one of the community outreach efforts that we have to talk to everyone and get some education out there, and additionally also have an actual booth at Pride. So we were able to do the float, but we'd like to have a booth for people to come up and ask questions. And again, you're gonna hear me harp on this, especially with youth. I know for myself personally, when I moved from Chicago to Phoenix, I was like, where's all the resources? Why do I have to find all this stuff? And I'm like, I'm an adult. What if I was 16 having to figure out all this stuff? So we definitely wanted to get that information out there to people. And then, of course, more Phoenix Comicon panels, which if I have anything to say about it, will be really easy to have.
Yeah, trying to get a lot more next year.
Yeah, and I think at this point we can open up to questions, yeah? Or did you have more slides, Shane?
Oh.
I'm so good.
Yes.
I've got two. First, what is the primary way of being in touch with your events? Is it Facebook? Or
Facebook or meetup.com.
There we go.
Also, well, a lot of them show up on phoenixgaymers.com also.
is that on a mailing list, or is it Facebook?
If you join the Facebook group and you get the updates, it'll just update there. We usually keep the main events pinned, so when you go on the group, you can see the main events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
and if
we
you're a
know that.
meetup person, I'm sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Also, we know that there are some people that don't like to use Facebook. So we have meetup.com as an alternative, and also the website as an alternative to getting access to our events.
But either one should have the full list. Or, the second one is, do people still play tabletop RPGs?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually in a weekly Pathfinder game every Wednesday. It's not really officially a gamer, but a lot of people I met are from Phoenix Gamers. We don't really have like a set-aside event for tabletop gaming, but obviously there's a lot of people within the group that do, so you can meet more people to get a group together easily enough.
So it'd be better to probably just go to some of the open events and start talking.
Yeah, to start talking
Definitely.
to people.
If you use Facebook at all, we have an offshoot group that hasn't really done a lot yet, but we have a RP Gamer group, Phoenix RP Gamers, so it's all for tabletop.
Awesome. Great.
So I know you guys are talking about panels for next year, but what about running games here? I know that there's actually some gaming going on at Comicon. This might be kind of a cool outreach kind of thing.
Yeah, that is something we have in mind. One of the new things here at Comic-Con, if you haven't read about it, was the Diversity Lounge, which is a place for, so it's like a safe space for LGBT community to kind of like go and hang out. And we want to get more involved with that next year and hopefully offer more programming in that area.
Just also touch on that, there is open gaming at the Hyatt on the second floor lounge. It's perfectly acceptable for the gaming group to grab a table, put up your sign, and play there.
Yeah, and I know Chris, the director at Phoenix Comicon of Gaming, has specifically reached out to us and said he would love for us to have a space. So I don't even think it's a matter of if, it'll be a matter of when and where.
Any other?
To be a part of this community, do you need to go through a sort of formal membership process, or do you just kind of show up?
There's a 4-page application.
$20 application fee,
Big checks payable to Joseph Erickson.
aka Sales Switch.
No, it's open to anyone and everyone, and that's another thing that we've worked very hard to get that message out there. We're not just for gay men. We're out there for our entire community. Whether you're gay, bisexual, lesbian, queer, transgendered, and our straight ally friends. We're out there for everyone, and we welcome and accept everyone. We also welcome
I can clap that.
We also welcome and accept all age ranges. We've had people that were under the age of 17, or under the age of 18, and we've had people that are well older than me, 24. It's open to everyone.
Well, I have a question. Which you guys think is more important, PS3 or Xbox Live?
Xbox, I mean,
Let's not fight a start fight here.
I mean, I have both, but I just prefer Xbox. I feel like it's more community gaming. It's very easy to find people to play with and that kind of thing.
I think PlayStation Plus gives you better free
Oh, I
games,
totally
though.
agree. Xbox, yeah, and games with gold is like horrible.
It's getting.
Dark Souls. They're just not getting Dark Souls, and I'm like, he has had Borderlands too. Like, catch up.
Going along that lines, let's not cut out PC. If we're gonna fight about this, let's do all three.
PC is a master race. We already know that.
We don't like
Wait, why do we have to choose?
Well, not until we get that, enough money to buy the boat. That's when we don't have.
Until we get the sponsorship, let's not choose.
Hi, I play League of Legends a lot, and on the game,
Like, I think that Riot as a company is very good at like banning or like giving consequences to people who breach like norms by homophobic slurs and things like that. As a group, like, do you norm on like how you handle breaches in that way? Like when you're playing consoles, like I never know to like be like, hey, like that's not cool, and like getting this thing like while I'm trying to play, you know? Or like, have you ever talked about things like that during your group meetings?
We actually were talking about that this morning for an idea for next year panel. There's so many ways you can handle that. You can mute and just not listen to them, or you can try to educate the person. The sad thing is, when you're just listening to a voice on the other side of the screen, you don't know if you're talking to a 12-year-old or a 30-year-old, and it's hard to judge an appropriate response, in my opinion.
For me, I just mostly ignore it, mute it, and then report the person. Because I feel like if you don't report them, they're just going to keep on doing it. And then hopefully when you're in match gaming, Xbox is good with this, is when the person is reported enough, they get matched with other people that are reported. So it's all just stay with your own, you know? And people that are good, that don't. Well, no, if you're going to be like, because you know Xbox and PS3, there's a lot of kids that play those that shouldn't, but play those games and love using the F word, the N word, and all that. And, you know, you just want to game and have fun with your friends. So, you know, I just mostly report them.
People say bad words on Xbox Live.
No.
I know, it's so surprising.
I think to answer your question, to be really granular and specific, we don't have a policy per se, at least correct me if I'm wrong, that, you know, this action will happen. I think more it's at the discretion of Shane and Ross as the co-chairs. As Shane said, each situation is going to merit a different response. You know, if you get a 13-year-old kid that's mouthing off, and you know it's a 13-year-old kid, you might handle it differently than if it's a guy that we know should know better. And you know, we've had a couple of Facebook things that you've had to deal with, and I think, you know, went relatively smoothly, and for the most part, we're such a massive like monster at this point. It's like there's 900 of us and what have you. So we're gonna win. So that's really what the answer is.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, I don't know if this is still a thing for ever really a thing, but like Gaymer cons where we had the different
Stand up so we can see you.
different gamer communities add to our own specific kind of convention. I don't know if that was ever going to happen, or if you guys knew anything more about that.
In Phoenix, or you mean anywhere?
Like anywhere.
Well,
There's Gaymer X. That's one in San Francisco, right?
Yeah, Gaymer X2 is going to be in San Francisco in July. It's last year it was the first LGBT gaming convention ever, and it started on Kickstarter and had a really massive response. This year it's bigger, but they indicated it's probably going to be their last year doing a conference at that scale. They're probably going to be changing to doing more outreach with existing conferences. But some of us in the group are actually going to be going to Gaymer X2. I'll be going there. So they have a lot of really great programming on the schedule. I'm looking forward to it.
And sort of related, maybe not related with this audience, but Nerdlusk is actually becoming a big thing, and there's specifically a Nerdlusk festival that's happening every year now for male and female burlesque performers, all nerdy acts. It's once a year in New York, so that's pretty cool too, because it's all, you know, characters from various media, from comic books to movies called classics, and the act has to be from the nerdy genre. So it's, you know, it's definitely pushing out there.
Memory serves, we've been having a con this week.
That was my show. Well, thanks for the plug. Not that we needed it.
Go back in time and go to that show.
Yeah, if you want to get in your TARDIS and go back to Friday night at 10 o'clock or Saturday at 4:30, and then get in line about 3 hours ahead of time, then you can enjoy the show.
It was a sellout crowd. We had to turn people away.
Yeah, we had about 1,900 people seated, but then we had to turn over 100 between 2 shows.
Any questions from the audience, but I did want to touch base on the Facebook page. You mentioned that there are a lot of discussions that happen on the Facebook page, and I've witnessed a few of them. Any comments or conversations?
Yeah, you're more, if you guys are on the Facebook page, you're more than welcome to post up, like, you know, ask questions, you know. what's better, Xbox, PS3. A lot of people discuss that. If you want to, organize your own meetups, like who plays this game, chat with people, are more than welcome to do it.
It's very active.
Yeah.
Actually, on discussing different game platforms, I wanted to point out, and I'm looking at on the Facebook stuff, and I will reply to people that say, hey, I'm playing on like Steam, various other things. We've got pages placed on the Facebook page for gamer tags for Steam, gamer tags for Xbox, gamer tags for the PS.
Friend codes for the 3DS.
I
We
dropped
have
one in there
big
just for like Blizzard, for anybody that plays WoW or anything like that.
and LOL.
And I think kind of related to that, Shane, you were the one that started the map with the pins on it, right?
No.
Was it
That
Ross?
was Jason. Jason
That was
created
Jason,
the,
okay.
app.
So we actually have a map, and you're not required to do it, but for if you're comfortable, to pin yourself on, so for things like tabletop groups, to know where the various gamers are in the community. So it's kind of nice. I was surprised there were East Valley like gay people. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I'm actually with the local comic shop. We don't actually do a lot of gaming, but we have a lot of people come in to the shop looking for information. So I don't know if you guys have like flyers or anything, but we definitely, I know like I ran into Russ on Friday. If there's info to bring to like have down there, like yeah, like these guys, awesome. So I would definitely say bring these like every comic shop.
What's the name of
everywhere.
your shop?
Hashtag Comics down in Tempe.
Oh, nice.
Down at National University.
Do you guys host Magic?
Really?
Because I know there's a
We
lot
actually
of
don't do gaming at the shop or anything like that. But we do have a lot, it's not a big space, so we definitely take over. But we have every couple, like plus tonight, a lot of the customers come through are interested in gaming and ask us about it, so info like this is
We
awesome.
have business cards also.
Yeah, we have business cards that has like the Facebook and all that kind of stuff, so people can contact.
Yeah,
So if we contacted you through Facebook, we can, get you guys.
Yeah, we do have other comic book shops, which I won't mention because that would be rude since you just talked about your friends that we've worked with, but I mean, more is good, as much as we can get, the word out there.
We'll call them one rifle comic book shop.
Yes, if you notice
Frenemies.
on the chairs, we have our gamer stickers. We buy these in bulk and give them out to our members for free. And occasionally you'll find these like on the wall at different coffee shops, different places where people post stickers. You'll never know when they're gonna end up. They go great on your cell phone.
That's very,
And on your badge. So feel free to take one if you see one. There's plenty.
This actually makes a great question in itself. Is there any plans to expand into a comic book or more nerdy genre that doesn't like
I didn't actually hear the question.
Oh, I apologize. Is there any plan to extend the Phoenix Gaymers into other types of fandoms like comic books? Or,
if we have a large enough base of people.
I'm a comic book fan, so I guess, so I guess maybe, meaning, are you asking if we want to write one? Because sure.
I was asking if there's going to be any kind of offshoot group, like you have your side quests and you have different groups for the RPG gamers that you mentioned. Would be anything extending for comic books?
Sure, I think it's, like Robbie said, it'll be based on interest, and of course, reading comic books is a little bit more of a solo activity, but I think that if there was interest, anything that anyone is interested in, I mean, we have, like Joe said, we have the hiking groups, and, it's really more about just coming together with like-minded people, and what are you interested in? We'll come here, we've got 900 people, there's probably at least 3 or 4 other people that have that same interest, and we'd love to share it with you.
Yeah, that's true. When looking at the discussions that happen in the Facebook group, it's not always limited to just games.
Yeah.
There's discussions on movies, there's also discussions on like comics, and they can get pretty involved. I look at the comments that you see in there. Yeah, there's some other things that people are passionate about in the group. So.
Yeah, your nerd really comes out during the
Yeah.
discussion.
We're not really
Yes.
formally, but informally, a lot of our meetups, the people section officers are discussing, we have a lot of Whovians in the group, so that happens a lot. Star Wars, Star Trek,
Pokemon.
Pokemon. I'm all about Pokemon, but, and I could talk Dragon Age for like 7
And Mass Effect.
years, so, yeah, anime. We should start
Yeah, come and animate them.
That's really cool. We have a question in front.
Actually, to correlate with what you guys were just talking about, I was actually talking with Shannon Russ a little while ago about trying to mesh a poker league with our gaming, kind of expand from this like Magic or console gaming or PC gaming or RPG gaming to actually going out to bars and playing poker and meshing the two there as well. So we are trying to expand in more than just one venue.
One of the nice things about the way we've set up our
That's
schedule,
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
you know, we do have the lunch brunch, we have the monthly game party, and we have the ice cream social. And that leaves one weekend free without an official event, and then we also have the side quests. In the past, what we've done to fill that odd weekend is just random events. Whether they're a side quest or a full-on event, it doesn't matter. But the nice thing is that those random events and those side quests all come from suggestions from the group. So it's not just us saying, oh, we're going to do this. It's we listen to what people want. And somebody mentioned they wanted to play dodgeball, so we did a dodgeball side quest. And that's one of the nice things, that we get a lot of diversity in the things that we do throughout the month.
Yeah, someone had also suggested as a side quest doing a gamer pub quiz night. They did that at Rula. They had a smaller turnout on the side quest, but the people that showed up for that event came the next week, and there were more gamers that showed up next week, and then they got second place that night. So they did pretty good. Yeah.
How do you balance the all ages aspect of the group versus having events at pubs?
The pub is actually all ages. I don't believe they kick people out that were under the age of 21. It starts during college hour.
And we try not to do stuff where if it's 18 and over, we try not to do it. That would involve not including certain people, and we want to include everyone.
And actually, our youngest member is 10 years old. She's my daughter. She's awesome. The first Pride Parade that we were in, she worked harder than anybody, running up and down the streets, handing out flyers. So we're very conscious of being open to all age ranges.
Because we actually have a member on the board who's 18, so.
But we have adult activities too.
Why should I?
Yeah, we'll label an event if it's going to be 18 plus, it'll be in the event description, but it's not.
Yeah, the majority of our events are all ages.
Awesome. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, sir, in the blue.
I guess my question would be specific about the subreddits. Like, what kind of content are you looking for on the subreddit? Is it more
It's just starting, so I just started it, like, Russ started it, and then he's like, are you into Reddit? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to run? I'm like, sure. So we're just starting. I try to post the events that happen, and just like little discussions. Like one time we had, who's your favorite crush in gaming? Mine is Caden. I love Caden from Mass Effect. Yeah! So different things like that, you know. And if you guys want to start discussions in there, more than welcome to post, you know. So we're hopefully, as we move on, get more content on there and talk about more stuff.
And you recently passed 50
Yes.
subscribers.
Woo! The start it was like 20, so woo.
Little milestone.
We're moving up.
What is the subreddit name?
Phoenix Gaymers.
Phoenix Gaymers.
Yeah. Our Phoenix Gaymers.
PHX,
right? Yes, pretty much everything is /PHX Gamers on all of our social media.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, in the gray.
What is the Steam community?
Steam is a platform for downloading and playing games. It's done through Steam. The Steam community it helps kind of like people in our group connect over Steam to play games online. Yeah, it's just a tool for people to use if they want to play with other gamers in our group.
Oh, okay, cool. It's a diversion of PC gaming.
And there's a Steam doc, like they said before, with all people's users' names. So if you want to find people that play the game that you play, we'll see, MMOs and all that kind of stuff.
And I believe those documents are purely voluntary, correct?
Yeah, you don't have to fill them out. If you just go to the Facebook page and hit docs, click it, and you want to add yours to Xbox, 3DS, whatever, you're more than welcome to.
It's part of the application. We also take Bit of blood, maybe swipe me as
You have to pass a nerd test, you know.
Records,
Things like that, yeah. Fingerprints, you know.
Pictures though, right?
We need references too.
You have a little bit more time for a few more questions. In the red.
What if I've always just considered myself nerd adjacent? I think that I'm still, I mean, I've played games and I like to hike, so everybody's welcome.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have people like that, you know, if you're a partner with someone that's a gamer or you're not really that into gaming. I'm gonna say, since he's looking at me right now, Wade is one of those, him right there in the green. He's like nerd adjacent, you know? He tolerates it and comes to events. Yeah, I'm gonna call you that, Wade. Yeah, so you're more than welcome to come.
The other part of it is that the only time, you know, I've gone to Pride, I've gone to gay clubs, I've done all those things, you know, in my adult life and have rarely felt like I fit in. But when I come to cons or we go to the Star Trek conventions, I feel like I'm amongst my people. So, yeah, and so I have to say thank you for doing what you've done because
We are the
there's a
droids.
big cross section of LGBTQ, ABCDEFG. Who just have never felt like they fit in with their own people. And so thank you for that.
You made the point of yourself too. It's not how many hours you play the video game or how many comics you've read. It's just, do you feel like this is where you fit in?
Well, when we had Mech Assault on our first Xbox, I probably played like 6 hours at a time. So.
You and I were the same. I have like 4 video games like in my life that I played, but they were played till like they felt tired.
I'm well over 120 something hours in Skyrim, so I know exactly how that stuff works.
Although I probably have like over 5,000 hours collectively. And that's like in the last 2 generations. I'm obsessed.
So there's a question here in the front with the white shirt.
Actually, it's not a question, it's to answer yours. My partner is not a huge gamer, but he has come to some of the gamer parties and had a lot of fun. So,
Cool, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. In the white shirt.
To give you an example, a lot of people ask, well, I don't really play normal games. Magic. Not everybody plays it, but they've heard about it. I myself usually carry about 8 or 9 decks, and they're all the easiest because I'm not the smartest person in the world to play. So most people say, well, I've never played it, how do you play? I said, look at the pictures, they're pretty, read the words, that's all you have to do. That's how I play it, that's how I make it. If you've never played it before, everybody is willing to help you out if you want to try something. Whether you're good, bad, or other, that's what the group's about. Learning something different, getting away from the, oh, I shouldn't do that because I'm bad. Have fun.
We have room for 1 or 2 more questions.
Actually, I wanted to come back to your question and have a little more follow-up. I think your question was more geared towards how would we react when we're in-game. But I also wanted to mention, we've been together, this group's been running for almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years in September. In that time, we have had to ask 3 people to leave. And for the gay community, having that many people in one organization and not having drama, it's just amazing. And the 3 times that we did have to do it, there was always consent between myself and Russ, or myself and Matthew Andrews when he was just running the group. So it's never just arbitrary, oh, I don't like you, leave. It's, you know, we make sure that there's consensus and it's for a good reason. We want to make sure that people feel safe, and there have been times when there were things said by people that were not, and it was dealt with accordingly and quickly.
More questions from the group?
Just curious, how many of you, by show of hands, have not heard of Phoenix Gaymers before?
Welcome.
awesome.
Question in front.
Not a question, just for all the folks that are just finding out or fairly new to things. The one thing that the Gamer group did for me was gave me a family when I was completely on my own. I had moved down to Arizona for a relationship which fell apart, and I knew nobody. And a friend of mine who was in the original Gamer group had taken me to meet some of the people, and then wouldn't take no for an answer. And I went over to Shane's place, and I didn't really want to do anything. I was still grumpy and grouchy and petulant, and they shoved dice in my hands, they shoved cards at me. I think a pillow was chucked at my head at one point, and I ended up with more good friends from this group. Whether I'm there all the time, more good friends and more people that I can honestly say are my family, Lily included, than I ever would have expected. So, just for folks who are still finding out about it, it's worth a look.
And you also found a relationship from an offshoot of the group.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Let's not set too high of an expectation.
I
mean, we can try.
I do think we should have a thank you, though, to Shane and Russ for just creating this community.
I actually just want to add to that a little bit. If you don't think you have enough time or anything, I work 7 days a week right now. I barely have time to come today for Comic-Con alone. I mean, I've been, for a while ago when I didn't have a job, I used to go to Shane's parties every month. Now I go to maybe one thing every, 2 months now? And every time I walk in, it's like I haven't missed a single day. Everyone in this community is absolutely phenomenal. Everyone is so friendly and just willing to give any knowledge you need, any support you need, anything at all. I highly suggest if you don't know about it or you have friends that are looking for someplace to go, spread the word. We are an amazing group to be a part of, and we have these two people to thank for it, and now a whole management team.
Don't lie.
And to the women, there are other women, I promise. I've had a few people reach out and just be like, "Are girls allowed?" Yeah, I was like, I posted my way in, so yeah.
That was actually a topic that came up on Facebook recently about whether women or trans folks were allowed in the group, or even straight folks. And of course, it was touched on earlier in the panel that everyone is welcome.
Yeah, a lot of people bring their family, whether they're straight or not, bring their family, friends. You're more than welcome to bring them to events. But we can take anybody.
Just be nice, I'll take you.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to interact. We had one person at one point that had a lot of social anxiety, and to the extent that he would come and sit down, and not Robbie, he would come and he would sit and play his Game Boy. He wouldn't talk to anyone, and if anyone tried to talk to him, he would almost panic. And he kept coming in, we just gave him a safe space, and eventually he became a very outgoing person, which was an amazing transformation. I can't say we can take credit for it, but we gave him a safe space to be himself and be with other people and just be around someone without having to say, "Oh, you've got to play games." In the back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we had one, Luke, he's in Tucson too. He came up for Comic-Con and he's a gamer, Phoenix Gaymers. So yeah, you can post on Facebook, any Tucson gamers want to hang out. I'm sure you'll find some people there too.
All of our events are typically scheduled at least 2 weeks in advance, so you'll have more than enough time to schedule.
And I'm sure Russ and I would love to help you guys sort of branch out there as well, if you'd be interested in that.
Last question.
Is that a question? You're at 918, and I just joined, so that's 919.
I just joined on Reddit, we're up to 54 on Reddit.
We should just have like a tallying mark.
We're going to start winding down. Are there any other gamer events? It was a gay agenda that was printed up. Are there any other gamer events?
Yeah, it's the last one. We do support the game agenda.
Oh, and if they do it again next year, I mean, everybody needs to go to Squee Fest. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're trying to maybe schedule a nerd gamer version of Squee Fest. It was a lot of fun.
One of the members, Nick, wanted to mention something.
Yeah.
Did you mean events here at the con or in general?
That's what I was asking, but it's your choice.
I was gonna say we have that. I was gonna say we have the pool party coming up again
Last year was a blast. People were in the pool, they were playing consoles, they were playing tabletop, we played Munchkin. It was a lot of fun.
When's the pool party, Nick?
No, we
When
were
is
not
it?
playing Munchkin in the pool.
When is the pool party,
The
Nick?
4th of July weekend.
The details
Mark
are
your
on
calendar.
the website, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be on the
Just to
website.
expand some events that are going to be after Comic-Con, next weekend at the Film Bar, we're showing a documentary called Gaming in Color. It's a documentary about gamers, basically, and it's like, what, $9 tickets? It's a movie theater that actually has a full bar also, so.
One year.
It's a really cool
It's what?
place.
Beer and wine.
Oh, beer and wine. Well, it's full bar to me.
I take offense to that, I work in a bar.
And then the weekend after is our next gamer party, which is at Blood Boys Community Center.
Hope to see all your new members there.
Yes.
Maybe.
We did
Smash
have
Brothers.
one more question. I just wanna-
No, I was gonna say about the one on the 21st, like for people who don't know about that, but yeah.
So it sounds like there's a lot of events coming up that'll be on the Facebook page or the website, is that fair to say?
Yes.
We try to post it across all platforms,
When
so.
new people join, we try to make sure they get sent the invites. Sometimes it takes.
Should make an app.
Gamer.
It's been discussed.
Oh, that would be.
It's very
been
easy.
discussed.
Well, we do have to wrap things up. I do want to thank all of you for being on this panel and also for the gay agenda you printed up and all the different events you sponsor. They sponsored 4 different events and we're also part of the Diversity Lounge. So the Phoenix Gaymers were very active this year at Con. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you for coming to our first ever panel.